Hello everyone, this is Vishakha Daga coming up with the next session of Let Us Explain, where we explain you one news in detail, covering up all the aspect. And present the section is presented to you by ACube IAS, where we help you prepare for your examination in a very simple, unique, and easiest way. So we'll help you get through this journey in the most easiest manner as possible. So stay connected. Moving ahead is about today's news. What I'm going to explain is that Union government is defending its case against international tribunal. The tribunal has ordered Union government to pay 1.2 billion dollar back to Cairn Energy, which it is claiming, which India has taken from it as a matter of tax dispute. Now, what is the news? Why Union government is is not paying, and why Cairn Energy is asking to pay for it? What are the minute nuances that you're supposed to understand, and how you can write this as an example in your mains or PT examination? What is the important news for PT in here? We'll discuss that in detail. Now, moving ahead, what this is a very confusing news. So first thing is to understand what is the news exactly. The news is the statement comes from a Cairn Energy that it is going to file a lawsuit against Air India in US. So it is going to file lawsuit against Air India in US that it is liable to pay damage for $1.2 billion that is not being paid by the government of India. So this whole picture is confusing. So the government of India is liable, and Cairn Energy is is asking for money, but Air India has come into picture for no reason. So that I'll explain why. And second is the government of India has termed the judgment of Hague Court as flawed for two reasons. It has said that that because of improper jurisdiction. Apparently it was so India is a sovereign country, and it did not consent in any arbitration. If there are two parties are going for arbitration, then both parties are supposed to give the consent that they want this matter to be arbitrated, and then the judgment is binding on them, which is the case in the Hague Court, which is International Permanent Court of Arbitration only. But India did not consent. So how would that actually apply on India? And the same thing has happened to China as well. China was also taken to the court for the dispute in the South China Sea, and China said the same reason, that it was not party to the case because it did not consent to. So India did not give consent to being party of the dispute. First, it wanted the dispute to be sorted out domestically, but Cairn India did not choose that route. So it is the same thing that it says, that it says that the entire scheme is basically is trying to achieve a double non-taxation. India says that effectively, if this is being approved, the Cairn India does not pay tax even in India, even not in the UK, where this everything has happened. So it says that it legitimizes the double non-taxation, which is against the rules of the OECD countries which we have formed. And third is India says that it is based on abusive tax avoidance scheme, on the basis of which the Cairn India is actually asking for the exemption from not paying $1.2 billion, and this is against Indian laws, and it actually because of it violates this, it cannot get the protection under India-UK bilateral investment treaty. Now, from in the entire thing, where did this in UK-India bilateral investment treaty came into picture? Even that I'm going to explain you. So, and the government says, even despite whatever has happened, hum mitti dal denge, or we'll be able to, we are open to amicable solution where you and me provide the solution instead of some third person, that is international arbitration, because I have not given consent to. If two parties are consent, then India does accept the order. That has been the case in the past, even when India lost the battle, in the case of India-Bangladesh water dispute, in the judgment was against, not in favor of India, but India accepted that because India was party. India said we want this matter to be disputed by a third person. Now, next, let's understand this raised not one but many questions. As I said, how Air India come into the picture, what is the dispute, why is the Hague Court in the picture, who is Hague Court itself, what is this bilateral investment treaty, and why Air India should pay all this. Why is she in the picture? So we'll discuss in detail one by one all of this aspect. At first, let's understand little background. That is, what is the case exactly? What happened was, in 2006, Cairn Energy went to reorganization of its asset. So Cairn UK, was actually, this was one, it was taking it. So it has Kane India holding in India. What it did, Kane UK transferred shares of Kane India holding to Kane India. That means transferring its asset. There was simply, understand, there is a unit A in India and it has unit B in UK. What it did, it transferred its asset from India, unit A that is in India, to unit B that is in UK. And then after some time, it started selling its asset. Now, while the selling of asset, there is a capital gain tax that comes into picture. Now, India asked for it. India said ki you have earned this money while actually living, like making profit on Indian territory. We want you to pay the capital gain tax. So it says that ki first of all, there was no law at that time. In this manner, you explain this ki nahi, you have earned this money on Indian territory and you pay tax. India did not consider this demand, but India stopped, like 10% of asset it didn't allow to be divested, which was actually Vedanta purchased it. Vedanta ने वो खरीद लिया जब Kane India was divesting, was selling its share. So you understand, there is a unit in A, then there is unit in B that is in UK, and then like A unit transferred the asset to B unit, and then B unit started selling its asset, and in the sale of asset, capital gain tax was supposed to be applied. India said, since you have earned this money on Indian territory, you are supposed to pay tax. But Kane India said, no, now we live in UK, we are not paying tax, and even your tax law do not cover this. So Indian Tax Authority may demand for the 6,000 crore by Kane UK said no. And India has already lost such kind of case in Vodafone case. So what India did is India came up with a retrospective taxation. What is retrospective taxation? Is that I frame law right now, but I say it will apply in the past cases as well. That means if I have done such type of transaction in the past, even then I'm liable to pay. Government of India can ask this, and in tax related matter, that is civil manner, it is allowed, not in criminal matter though. So Kane, what like 2012, after that happened, what happened was Kane argued that retrospective taxation is not allowed. This is against UK India bilateral investment treaty. That is something I am going to discuss now. But Indian government, what it did, it sold its asset in India. Whatever Kane had remaining assets in India, it sold its asset. It did not repay its tax dividend, or like its dividend and tax refund it was supposed to claim. And this is how government took back its money, because government had the asset. Now government at UK, it took the benefit of the fact that Kane India had some asset in India. So like, and government being a sovereign, India being a sovereign nation and government they have authority, it sold its assets. So like वही ना कि अपनी गली में तो सब शेयर होते हैं, तो इंडिया डिड द सेम थिंग. इंडिया वाज लाइक कि मत पर पे टैक्स करो, पर हमारी कंट्री में आपके एसेट तो हैं, हम बेच देंगे. गवर्नमेंट ने बेच दिया. So but this is going to pay back now, this is going to bite back now. Now this, which is what we are going to see right now. Now first let me explain what is India UK bilateral investment treaty. Bilateral investment treaty are nothing but a kind of like FTAs, kind of, not exactly FTAs, but these are mutual understanding in between the two treaties, that if investment happen from UK to India, India to UK, you will provide such kind of protection to our investor. Like if we have signed this treaty and I'm an Indian and I'm going to invest in UK, then there's certain actions UK cannot take against me. Like ऐसे ही arbitrarily selling the asset without actually warning me or without following the due process. UK government can't do so, because like it has signed a treaty with the Indian government, and so, similarly Indian government cannot do so. And retrospective taxation was part of it, apparently, according to Kane India. But India says that because it was a matter of like like double non-taxation, and which was actually is like illegal is illegitimate behavior, so Indian government is allowed to do so. But Kane India says that no, in any case we're not allowed to do so. So this is the matter. India has signed bilateral investment treaty with 86 country, but due to like this was going against India, wherever it was going in the international arbitration, it was losing. And from the Vodafone case to this case and everything, so India actually brought down other BITs and renegotiated BIT models with other countries. It is in phase of renegotiation right now. So this was about BIT, but let's go back to this case only. So what it did was, कहानी में हम कहाँ पे पहुँचे? अब कहानी में हम यहाँ पर हैं कि इंडिया हैज़ एक्टेड स्मार्ट. इंडिया सोल्ड इट्स एसेट, केन इंडिया के एसेट को बेच दिया. Now next is the next part of the story. So Cain India, like, because now Air India has to come into picture. तो कहानी में ये जो twist आया है, which this twist is played by the Cain India. Cain India said, if you're playing smart in your territory, I'm gonna play smart in my territory. Cain India did something. Cain India said, okay. Now what it did, it actually filed a case, like registered the actually case against like Indian asset in other jurisdiction like US, UK, Canada. So wherever Indian assets are there, Cain India has started filing suit against us. So Air India have assets in US, and Cain India has filed a case against India in US. So it cannot file case against India because it is not winning on that case. It is winning actually, but India is not paying. So it has filed a case against Air India. Now why Air India? Because it says Air India is Indian national asset. So it is India's alter ego. Remember? Because Vedanta's asset, like it did not, Indian government did not allow Cain to sell asset to Vedanta, and 10% it keep with itself. So Cain India is doing the same thing कि हम अपने जंगल में हम शेर हैं, अब हमसे asset ले लो. So like, and India is saying कि we are not going to like blackmail the bully like this, and India is going to stick to its demand, and but we are acceptance to the amicable solution. And the question is why the Hague Court is involved in it, and what is Hague Court exactly? So that I'm going to discuss in the some next session. Not exactly next session, but the next part is that Hague Court of Appeal is also called as Permanent Court of Arbitration. Is an international intergovernmental organization located in the Peace Palace, Hague in Netherlands, where most of the judiciary entities are there, like International Court of Justice is there, Permanent Court of Arbitration, and there's a third third element also, which is there only. I'm not able to recall right now exactly. That is one thing that you should remember, that Permanent Court of Arbitration is not International Court of Justice. These two are two different things. They are two different exactly. Why? Because International Court of Justice is one of the UN agency, but International Permanent Court of Arbitration is not a UN agency, though it was formed by the first International Peace Conference held in The Hague in 1899, but it is not a UN agency. And it is not a court, but it is a bureaucracy, and they basically it's an arbitration tribunal which help you provide like any other tribunal rules that apply to other tribunals in our country or other, the same kind of tribunal structure it has. And its structure involved an administrative council to oversee its policy and budget, member that are panel of independent arbitrators who help mediate the arbitration, and then international bureau, which is secretariat, that means that see the administrative part. So council see the policy aspect, members see the arbitration aspect, and bureau see the administration aspect. And the next is financial assistance fund. In the entire process, the fee or etc. that is paid by the member, it gets the fund from that particular process. So this is, we are done with the entire explanation part. I hope you've got it, and I hope this video was informative as you wanted it to be. And if there is any suggestion, please give me a feedback. And thank you so much. Thank you for staying connected. Stay at home, stay healthy, and stay safe. This video is brought to you by AQBIS, where we also help you prepare for the civil services in the simplest possible manner. Thank you.